Crypto Rich Truckers, yo, Slim G coming with ya with another one. Yo, I got a little setup here. Got the microphone. I realized I got a lot of things to talk about when it comes to crypto, the underlying technology, which is the actual most important part. Because, well, what I do on my channel here, talking about cryptos, is probably the most unpopular thing I could do. Like, what can I expect? I'm probably the guy right now, even when they see my title, the crypto rich trucker, like, oh, this guy, like a crypto guy, like a crypto trucker, like we need that. Um, and I'm going to tell you why people would think that, why you may think that, and I understand, it's understandable, but I'm going to see if I can change your mind on all of this because 99.9% of everybody, not just truckers, don't understand cryptos because cryptos aren't the same as stocks or even gold or real estate, though they are a type of digital internet real estate. But they're very, 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 very different. And so I'm going to see if I can kind of see what this like is driving, and I actually tried to make my camera aim that way, which actually I could make it work if I flip my phone around. That was the problem, that the camera is blocked by the backing, but actually I just thought of it that I could flip it around. I think I can. Well, no, then it'll be aiming towards me. And still. So, yeah, because I was actually going to record this video with the main camera aiming out that way, but the back part of this holder, the phone holder, blocks it. I'm not really like super into myself or narcissist type. But at the same time, like I've been told, I have another channel and I had some people in my life that are into YouTube next, because I was making videos before and I would hardly even show myself. I just walk around Mexico where I live and they say, hey, actually people psychologically, people connect when they see your face and they talk and they see your lips move or whatever. It kind of like there's a psychological connection. We're humans, we connect, and I get that. I kind of had a viewpoint to where I saw a lot of people that I watch on YouTube, and they're walking around like Mexico, a lot of vloggers that I would watch, and they would hold their camera on their face a lot, and I would be like, I want to see the surroundings. I don't mind seeing your face too, but I want to see a lot more of the surroundings, which they did, but I feel like they showed their face more. They would walk down the streets and just kind of show like beside them and stuff, and only clips of like their food and a few things. But anyways, back to the topic here. Um, but I want to try to change truckers' minds, not just to change your mind, like why? Like, why do I want to change your mind about cryptos and the technology? Because we're in an era, things are changing so fast, and it comes down to our freedom. I'm going to start talking a little bit faster here so I don't make such long videos. But it comes down to our freedoms, and I'm actually fighting for freedom. That's ultimately everything that I am about is 100% about my freedom. In fact, I feel like I'm almost more of an American patriot, or what's the word? Excuse me. I've been out of the States for 15 years, going back and forth doing trucking still, but even when I'm doing that, I'm isolated for the most part, and I hardly talk English. So I'm in Mexico most of the time when I do talk. So I forget a lot of words. So being patriotic, I'm super patriotic here about in America, about the States, but things have changed so much, and now that I'm in my 40s, I realize things have always been changing all my life. America has always been leaving, like the vision, the great America that it was supposed to have been a long time ago. It's been being sold out for a long time now, most of my life, and even for a long time, really. It's been being sold out. There's been powers that have been consolidating, world powers that have been consolidating and struggling. It's been a struggle of powers consolidating over control. It's elites. So anyways, and I want to try not to drift. I do that, and I got to get some practice in. I like open up a topic and then don't finish it, and then open a new one and then don't finish it. So now let me start backing up here. Excuse me. There's no editing right now either. I know truckers, I've noticed other truckers, they make long videos, but I think it's because we're trucking and we can just flip a video on and like listen to it also. And that's a part of what this is about. You can actually listen to mine. You don't have to stare at this screen. Look at Slim's slim looking face. I'm in Arizona right now. We're about to go into Flagstaff. It's looking absolutely beautiful. You're going to see some trees coming up in the background in a minute. But anyways, let's back to where I was going now. So I missed that. I got my boy right here with me. We've been discussing if he'll be on the show, and he might be, briefly, probably not like a lot, just probably brief few moments. But anyways, going back, so probably wondering like, okay, so what is it? Well, let me tell you, the reason why most people are turned off on cryptos because they don't understand. First of all, there's several reasons. One thing is cryptos are really new, even though they're a decade old. They're really new, so people don't really understand them. There's a lot of obscurity around them. They're definitely different than stocks, from a company. Though they have that aspect to them, you can kind of treat them like a stock. So let me get around this car coming up. But cryptos weren't designed to be. They weren't designed for speculation, and to be traded. I mean, yes, that is like something you can do with them. They do have that aspect to them. You can do that, and that's what people do. And that's actually 99.9% of what is done with them. That is like their main like use case in a sense, though that is not their actual use case. That's not their fundamental use case. Cryptos are designed to power a network, what we call distributed ledger technology. These ledgers that work like a bank ledger, things go in and out. There's a lot of things. Things are stored on them, like information is stored on these ledgers, um, like files, all types of stuff stored on these blockchains. This is what they're called. These distributed ledgers, like Bitcoin, is a blockchain. It's also a DLT, a distributed ledger. So you can see everything, like all the blocks and all the information inside the blocks. Um, and so, oh man, I'm really getting this sun here. It's that time, guys. So I might pause a little bit because it's looking a little, sorry. It's just I get that glare and there's that spot where you can't see. I want to make sure you can see, like, there's not a car right there, you know? You got to move around a little bit. It's only for a few more minutes. We're just now getting into these mountains now. About to get on 17 and go down to Phoenix. So, cryptos, they're actually, what the actual crypto is for is so you can transact on the network. That's how you power the network. You pay for your transactions, okay? Um, there's many different types of transactions you can do on these networks. It could be just like a message, literally like sending a message. And in that type of transaction, you would send it would be a minute amount of crypto that you would send. But what that does is it incentivizes people to build the network, because someone has to build these networks. Someone has to run these nodes to handle these transactions and to store the information. You know, now once the networks are built, I'm not saying the developers get paid, but the ones that run nodes that allow the network to exist, because that's how the network is created, is through a bunch of nodes, and anyone that runs a node gets paid a transaction fee for helping let these transactions come through and giving us a network to transact on and and transfer value of all types across these networks. And I'm not going to get into deep into the depths of what the network is, what type of value, because the thing is it comes down to security and why we use these networks. Because there's a big reason why is because they're so secure. They're the most secure thing, especially like the hash graph, which is different, a little different than a blockchain, but very similar at the same time. Uh, um, Not going to get into that. I'll save that for another video. But it's the highest level of security. The hash graph is the highest level out of anything there is. That's why I've been with it. It's hold on, son. I can't. I got sun in my face. I can't look right now. Okay. Enjoy, enjoy. I've been through here many times. Another 10 minutes, that sun will be out of my face. I had to get around this truck. You guys are on the road with us. I'm watching the road. I'm just talking and watching the road, so I can do that. That's like talking on the phone with your headset. I got my headset too. But anyways, yeah. So Hedera Hashgraph is what they called asynchronous Byzantine fault tolerant, and that was a mouthful for you, probably earful for you, mouthful for me before when I first started trying to say it. But I've said it so many times now that it's easy. Asynchronous Byzantine fault tolerant. I'll link some videos later, not on this video, but Mike Maloney, um, he has very good videos about asynchronous Byzantine fault tolerant with content like graphics that you can see of like back a long time ago, Byzantine war, you know, how it works and all that stuff. So, anyways, but that's the highest level of security, or at least one of the highest levels, and I think it is probably the highest level of security there is for like internet systems, systems like, and it's used in different things like in military. In fact, the people that built this were high level Air Force that built the Hedera Hashgraph. Dr. Lehman Baird and Mance Harmon, they worked together for many years in the past, and they're actually early people building AI type stuff. And I'm kind of drifting off again here, but let me just come back. I'll go into their stories on another video, but maybe that's a little tease. I got other videos I can drop in the links later and other videos about them that you can learn all about these guys. But I'm trying to get to the point to change your mind here. And the reason why you're missing out, big time, big time. Because let me ask you, do you have investments? Do you invest in real estate? Do you have a 401k? Do you buy stocks? Anything, you know? I mean, maybe you invest in cryptos or whatever. I don't know. Maybe you have rental homes or something, rental houses that you buy. But I imagine you're trying to like do something with your money that can grow for retirement and stuff like that, or to leave your job or to fight for freedom, whatever. Let me ask you, do you have that stuff? Okay, most likely most of you guys do. Well, let me tell you something. The greatest wealth transfer of our lifetimes is happening, and it's happening right now. And I'm telling you, it's in technology. And it's been happening like all of my lifetime, um, as the internet's being built since the 80s and even before, like the pre part of the internet, and then like, but the main internet that we know of, like starting in mid 90s, and then like when you had the first like online, American Online, and then Amazon came, you know, not too long after. It was Web 1, what you call Web 1, and it was super basic, like just static screen, okay? I kind of grew up around the internet. My grandma was amazing, actually. My grandma, she was an internet genius. Like she died. She didn't get to experience even Web 2. She was Web 1, but she built websites, and she was a genealogist, and she built amazing stuff, researching history of her family line, and she built all types of stuff. It was amazing. I remember it. Like she had the photos, everything. She went, visited courthouses, and dug up all kinds of information and built these family trees. And so she really learned Web 1 so well. But anyways, Sorry about these little drifting stories. Hey man, we're trucking, trucking vibes, baby. You got to share a little story here and there, a little glue, kind of glues people to you. Looking for Interstate 17 here coming up. There's the sun again. Come on, let's get some trees, let's get some mountains blocking it. So there's Parina, if you know where I'm at now. So where am I here? Yeah, I gotta upload to YouTube. I need some videos, and that's why I'm doing this because I'm on such tight runs, man. We're in a trucking recession, and I've been like balls to the wall. Excuse me, ladies. Excuse me. I need to like. I don't really like to curse too much and say crazy things, but hey, we're trucking out here, so please excuse that. I can't delete it, so all right. So yeah, going back here, you are missing out because this is the greatest wealth transfer. Yeah, I was talking about Amazon. You had Google, and okay, so check it out. You might be like, yeah, but there's the .com boom and crash. It's like exactly. And guess what? Cryptos did the same thing. Bitcoin and all the other coins in the first decade shot up, went crazy high. It's already done it several times. But guess what? So, but we're in a tech era, okay? Of this is my lifetime. The great transfer of wealth is in tech, okay? You have real estate. I'm not saying real estate. There's wealth transfers in real estate too, but I'm telling you something huge that, and I'm going to get into real estate and tell you some things why you need to be careful in real estate. It's like I'm telling you, the herd is going that way. Everybody wants to do real estate. And so if anything, you want to be smart and be somewhere else early. You want to be in digital real estate and be one of the first people and pioneers like myself. When no one else is talking about it, when everybody's hating on it, when there's blood on the streets, that's the time to be in. That's when the big dogs come in, or they're little dogs, but that's when they become big dogs. Because trust me, everybody was a little dog at the beginning, like the Rothschilds, back in old history, before they manipulated and they dropped the markets through propaganda. Anyways, that's another story. But yeah, going back, so the early internet, I mean, had you been in Google, Amazon, and all that stuff when they first came out, been like a nerd, been the guy talking about it, and of course, nobody would have really had a clue what you're really talking about. They would have been like, yeah, he's a geek, he's a nerd, internet nerd. But you'd be a rich one. And yes, you would have been through the Wild West as well. You would have went way up high, and hopefully you would have sold during that big bull run that happened, and then it crashed. But then guess what? It continued on over the decades into the greatest bull run of all times in the stock markets. And this looking beautiful, sun, starting to look beautiful. It's a really nice truck stop. Yeah. Okay. I'm glad we got up here before it got dark because this is really beautiful. I love that Sinclair right over there. That truck stop's super nice. It's just because it smells so fresh, the air coming out of the desert. So, yeah, you would have been rich. And if you would have held on even after the crash, you would have kept dollar cost averaging and buying in. Here comes my 17 internet, state 17 at 2 miles. We're going to Phoenix South. Let's go. So, I was talking about Web 1. Then Web 2 was like kind of like YouTube and Facebook, social media, and being more interactive, where you could communicate. There was email on Web 1, but Web 2 took that to another level to where you can make videos, you can message, DM, and build like communities and stuff and be more interactive. That was Web 2. And then Web 3 is like, it's the crypto and blockchain. That's what Web 3 is. And it's also where money is moving to. It's the final piece. It's the internet money where and it's a lot more than that. It's also metaverse. It actually ties a lot of other pieces. It brings the internet together brings all the layers together. And and I'm not saying there's not maybe a Web 4 like another layer, but Web 3 is definitely probably going to be the icing on the cake. Maybe Web 4 will be that cherry on top. It'll probably be like the ultimate AI, where the internet's just like a super computer. Let me get my 17 here. So now that I kind of told you that and told you about being on, there's a motorcycle here, so I'm gonna keep my following distance real well. I always try to keep my good following distance, no matter what. It ain't worth it, you know. It's like being somewhere like what 10 minutes earlier. It's like it's nothing. It's like a vapor. Check my mirrors. If you haven't seen me check my mirrors, which I believe I have, but I need to get used to being on this camera. Which I don't care about that. I'm just talking right now. I don't care about like trying to look into the camera much. So yeah, I want to like bring you around to Web3 because it's kind of like what Google and Amazon. I'm telling you, it's the next thing. And if you can like quit thinking about what everybody told you about Bitcoin and like, oh, get in, it's gonna go up, you're gonna get rich. You can't think of it like that. You can't speculate it on from that point of view. You need to speculate it on a long term, like kind of like Google and Amazon. If you would have speculated in Apple, if you would have said, you know what, no, I'm in it for the long run. I'm not any. I don't even care about the booms and the busts. That's like because everything when it's being developed, it goes through that, and there's also a lot of manipulation. You always have rich people involved that can create that. They can spoof the markets. They can create rallies, and that's what they do. Is they take everybody's money. They take the public's money, and I can speak a lot on this because I actually went to Trading Academy over 10 years ago. No, 15, almost 15 years ago. I went to Trading Academy, and I was mentored by traders, New York stock traders. I did that because I moved to Mexico, and I wanted to have a really good skill, and that's really what I wanted to do. I was always into like money and finances, and that's why I found Bitcoin in 2010, or Bitcoin found me, because I was always into gold and silver, trading and stocks, and I was trading like in the early days before it was like popular, you know, like before they really started advertising it, and like, and they do that on purpose to like get a bunch of people trading and what they call retail to steal your money. They create hype, they make everyone think they can learn how to be a trader, and they go in, and so many people come in, they put a bunch of money in, and then they leave, and then that's just a lot of like pros taking that money from them. So, anyways, I can speak on these things. I feel like I can because I've been doing it long enough. But I don't trade. I build on the tech. I have a company, Tocomex, down in Mexico. Tocomex, it's like Banamex, Paymex, Samex, Telmex. We're the kings of tokenizing Mexico, asset by asset. And a real quick snippet, kind of interrupt, and I'll get back into this conversation. But I want to let you know, it's you should follow my journey, man. I have a very interesting journey that I'm on, because even after this adventure, when I'm done trucking, you'll know what I mean if you get to know me a little bit. I've been trucking on and off 18 years, but now I come in and truck and I stack for crypto. You know, we're in a bear market, and I'm purposely up here to stack during this bear market because I've already done it before, and I'm stuck in my treasury. Okay, because we're coming to another bull run in the next year, and I know these things because it's based on cycles. I don't 100% know, but hey, the trend is your friend till the end, and so far the trend hasn't been broken yet. Until there's a reason, until it's been broken, you stick with it, and it's true. You know, for the most part, it's true. The trend is your friend till the end. The only thing that's not your friend is your emotions. You know, the fear and the greed. That's not your friend. That'll screw you every time. And so you have to have rules in place and a plan of action. I don't like trading because trading is like day trading and all that stuff. It's not really what I like. It's not my passion. It really isn't. Um, that's just straight making money, which is fine. But I'm actually passionate about a lot of other things, about the tech. And so, yeah, I kind of went on some rants there. Now, let me bring it back here real quick about why you're missing out. Is because you're looking at crypto the wrong way. You're listening to your friends, you're listening to YouTube, you're listening to all these hypesters and fudsters, you know, on YouTube and stuff during like a bull run, probably when it's happening, and that's when you're hearing all about cryptos. But then a crash happens, and maybe you got into, who knows, you lost money, you didn't get out in time, but you're seeing it all wrong, and that's probably what you shouldn't be doing that. Like, especially if you don't really know what you're doing, you're just kind of going off a friend's information or going off YouTube information. You're like, let me get into this crypto. I saw this YouTube, they're talking about this coin. This guy says it's pretty good. I'm thinking I'm gonna try it out. I'm just gonna get into it. I mean, hey, I think it's good to try things out with small amounts, just to like put some skin in the game and like learn a little bit. And that's usually how you learn the most, when you put a little skin in, because it piques your interest and it gets you more involved. Because once you got money involved, now you want to know more. Especially if you lose it, you want to know how you lost it. That way, 333. Yep, there it is again. Sorry, we're into our numbers here. No, that's 333. You didn't see that it was kind of missing. It was scratched off. Exit 3333. 333. So, anyways, yeah, getting back here to this great transfer of wealth. So, if you believe in the internet and you know that we live in a tech era, and you know the internet is going to probably take over every area of our life, kind of like it does now. I mean, look, we're on logbooks and all that stuff. Well, then you should believe that cryptos and crypto technology is going to happen. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Your friends, like, getting into crypto, that's what happened. You didn't know what you're doing. So let me get to the point now. Here's the way I do it. I'm just going to explain it from that point of view. I've been in crypto, like, again, since maybe I'll just go back a little bit, tell you a little my story about Bitcoin. Um, so I was on a journey, gold and silver. This is back in early, before 2010, like late mid 2000. What do you call those? The zeros? They weren't the teens. The 2000s, the early 2000s. Yeah, I was into like, I read books like Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad, like no, not 90s, mid 2000s. Rich Dad Poor Dad, Cash Flow Quadrant. Um, I listened to XM radio when I was driving. I was trucking, and I remember listening. I used to like Ron Paul, the Freedom Report, and all that stuff. I listened to like gold and silver shows. I collected gold and silver. I bought a lot of gold and silver, and traded some of that. I kind of rode some of those gold and silver. I actually bought some before it broke out. Um, and so when I moved to Mexico, I wanted to move to Mexico. I was working oil field trucking out in Wyoming, um, several of the oil fields, Texas, Wyoming, and North Dakota, and I was making bank back then. Like for back then, we were making like around 8 to 10,000 a month, and so I saved up money, and I wanted to move to Mexico. My wife is Mexican, and I loved Mexico, and I loved the idea of freedom, and I felt like I didn't have it in America. I felt like I was always being chased and hunted. I felt haunted or hunted, like there's like the tax people or whatever. I don't know, whatever it is about it. I just wanted to break away and get away and like go somewhere different and free myself. And so I went to Mexico. I had a lot of time on my hands, and I was into researching on the online. Uh, and so researching gold and silver and all that stuff, and just seeking after freedom in general. I was researching the world elites, the powers that be, how the families that run the worlds work, like history. I was studying history, like the Rothschild family, uh, and the banking families, the banks, because that's really what a lot of how the world's really ran. Really, is by the people that control the money, like basically control the world. They control the corporations. So, anyways, all that led me to find Bitcoin. One day, like I typed in like one world global currency or something like that, uh, and boom, Bitcoin popped up, and I was like, oh my gosh! I told my wife, I think I found the Illuminati's money, and I didn't understand it, but it intrigued me big time. I remember the website, a white web page you could download. There's a little button, I think it's at the top or in the menu, but you could download a node and mine Bitcoin on your computer. I didn't do it because I didn't fully understand it, but what I did do is I never stopped looking. Like every few months, I would type in like Bitcoin, like, and then Facebook was getting popular, more popular during that time. And I remember I found some Bitcoin groups. Uh, like I remember there was these like groups that were talking about it, meeting in cafes. Like in Europe, I know in different parts of the world, they're just meeting together, talking about cryptos. I mean, talking about Bitcoin. Excuse me, it was just Bitcoin. And so, but there wasn't a lot. There wasn't a lot going on. Hold on, make sure I'm not speeding here, because that was like a, I don't know if that was a police, but he popped right in behind me, but his lights turned off now. So I kind of like my heart dropped. I was like, what? But I don't think it was police. I think it was construction, but I'm going 55, so I'm good. You know, when you're talking even on the phone, sometimes you like, it's weird. You still got to be careful, even though you don't have it in your hand, but you can get zoned. And sometimes like someone could ask you, where did you just come from? Where did you just go? Like, you don't even remember. So a lot of what we do is by habit. We're driving by habit. So you better have good habits. Um, but no, I'm all good. But anyways, yeah. So I've never stopped following Bitcoin, and I watched it develop. It was under development all those years. My first time to buy it was 2013, and then my first time to scoop some and use it was 2014 on blockchain. I think it was blockchain.com or .org. I bought Bitcoin on localbitcoins.com, and then I started to like understand that there was the technology. I started to really understand what was going on and studying it. And then Ethereum came along in 2016, I think it was, and I was studying Ethereum and what the problems they were trying to solve. And then I started to realize, okay, this is like the new internet that's going to happen, and the way we're going to build businesses and stuff on top of these ledgers, on top of these networks. And then Hedera Hashgraph came along in 2017, and I was looking for. Oh, first before that, I was following XRP. That was one that really grabbed my attention, and the use case behind it really helped me understand um, the blockchain itself, the XRP blockchain, which I don't even think is actually a blockchain. It's another type of technology in itself as well. But it doesn't matter. So what in XRP, it's all about. It's a bank. It's what they call it, the banker's coin, because they move what they call Bostro accounts. It's how banks do IOUs. They use the SWIFT system, and they borrow money back and forth. It's just IOUs. Whenever someone does a wire transfer, money's not actually moving. What they do is say, "Oh, yeah, I'll loan you. In fact, you have an IOU. Well, I have an IOU with you, and so you are now writing me an IOU. So yeah, I'll let you use my money." And so they're actually XRP frees up those Vostro accounts to move through the XRP ledger. It's they're going to connect that money XRP to that money that's tied up, all that liquidity, and be able to move it around more instantly. And it brings a ton of liquidity, like trillions and trillions of dollars. So it's kind of mind blowing. I haven't followed XRP in years now. Obviously, there's been a lot going on. And I forget, truckers, I apologize if I start talking above over your head a little bit. I don't mean to. Sometimes I'm in a big crypto community actually, and so sometimes I'm thinking I'm talking to them because a lot of these guys know everything I'm talking. They're like, oh yeah, exactly. I know exactly what you're talking about. Um, but anyways, then Hedera Hashgraph, 2017. I was in very very early into Hedera Hashgraph, and a lot of things they were talking about blew my mind. I was like, bro, this is the freaking it. This is it. And like it is it. It's taken off. I mean, Hedera Hashgraph, the underlying technology. So, man, I think I blew this video by making it so long, and I haven't even really got to my point. But you got it all wrong if you're speculating on it, thinking you're going to make money real quick, and that's why people hate it. But I'm telling you, the underlying technology, how we building on top of these ledgers, and the way businesses and brands are going to be building on top, like myself as well, and how I build. Oh, we're only at 35 minutes. That's not that long of a video. Not too bad. So I'm going to try to move in on this now, on the meat here. So there's companies like, let me get into the meat on these these technologies and there's uh there's why you don't need to see cryptos as something to speculate on. These cryptos are designed for us to buy, for companies to buy, to build on, and to transact on, and to pay for their transactions. Okay? But yes, you can speculate on them. And yes, they are decentralized. And therefore, you can buy them, and they can provide you a lot of freedom whenever uh, the bull run and a lot of money moves into them, because they will always be speculated on, and they will be traded. They'll be treated like stocks in a way, and like gold and silver. In the fact, they're so mind blowing actually, because they're going to do everything that everything does. It's like a combination of stocks, gold, silver, uh, real world value that you couldn't you couldn't get liquidity for. Like for instance, we're working with the Zapata family, and again, I like to say these things so you follow my journey. And I think I was starting to say this earlier, and I rabbit trailed off. And this is why I wanted you to like stick along with me, because I got a very interesting story with my company where I'll take you on further vlogs, because we're working with the official Zapata family. Look it up, Zapata, Emiliano Zapata, a hero in Mexico. Okay, that helped the Mexicans, anyone that worked their land. I don't remember all the years. I'm not a big history buff, but I'll get more into it when I get back to Mexico, the years, the dates, all that stuff. But it's been several generations, I'll tell you that. He's an iconic figure, like an iconic piece of the culture of Mexico. Big sombrero hat. He was one of the ones that popularized the sombrero. Um, but anyways, he got the people with the government. If you work the land, then you got to own the land you got to get it from the government. And so he made people land rich, the Mexican land rich. He's the one that got Mexicans land rich. So he's famous. And so he's dead, it's been several generations now. And so we're working with, I think it's the grandson or great grandson, I forgot, but we're working directly with him, the official heir, legal heir. He has all the papers. He holds a third of the artifacts that were never put in the museums, because Zapata has artifacts in museums throughout Mexico, especially in Morelos, Mexico, where he's from. But there's about a third of them that have never been um, put into museums. So now to connect what I was saying, like we're building their NFT collection, and it's very noble what we're doing, because this, and again, now I'm talking about NFTs. Now you're like, oh yeah, here we go with NFTs. Like, yes, I got to tell you, your people are all wrong about that, because same thing, they speculate on them, and like most of them are like these cartoons and what they call degen art, and that was the first round. But the long-term technology is not about that. That was a way for a few people that figured out how to like create a hyped up market and make money off average people. And yes, so there was these bubbles, and they popped, and a lot of people got rich and most people got poor. But the technology itself, non-fungible token technology, tokenizing things, for instance, this like a saddle, Zapata saddle, it's just sitting there in Zapata's house, okay? They're holding it. and they want to store this history in a place that can be preserved for generations besides a museum, and they believe in this technology. And so the Hedera hashgraph is designed to last 100 years. They're building it to last for the next 100 years. Um, and so it can hold files in history on the hashgraph. So 100 years from now, if we put a file on there with photos, images, 3D images that you can spin around and look at, even metaverses where you can immerse yourself in a very real photorealistic version of these objects that we take an image of these real objects, and then we store them. That way, like a government can try to rewrite history, like China does. They lie to their people. They rewrite history. They create their own history. And even here in America, these books that we get in the schools, I'm telling you, it ain't the real history. They have these boards that get together, and they're incentivized by rich people to create history. The way they want you to know history to be. They manipulate it, they twist it. So many things. They control us with their programming inside schools. And that's what it all comes down to. We're all programmed, whether we like it or not. So anyway, Zapata, like he has a saddle and a pistol and a rifle that we're doing a 3D photorealistic of those objects, and we're tokenizing them, and then we're storing them on the hash graph so that way they're there 100 years from now. And then we're taking those NFTs, they're going to be limited, and we're going to sell them for a pretty good amount. And since we're working directly with Zapata, and he has a big circle, he's around, and also my partners at Tokomex, which are the ones that know Zapata, these guys work with like the top companies of Mexico. That's why we're also talking to some of the top companies. We're already working with them. We've already done samples, NFTs with them, and build 3Ds for them, like pony shoes. We built 3D pony shoes and different things. An iconic brand, Pony, if you remember that. It was a brand around, especially during the 80s, to do with pretty much every major sport. But now it's more of an iconic type of brand. It had its peak in the world, but it's still an iconic brand. Smaller now, but anyways. So these objects or these artifacts that Zapata has are just sitting somewhere in a room, and we can actually bring value to them. And because he's already got all the value, his story, his history, we can digitize them and tokenize them and fractionalize it, make 1,000 copies of something. And then guess what? Mexico's elite, these owners of these companies will be like, wow, this is pretty cool. So I can own a piece of that history. And they're limited. And like this is directly an official collection of Zapata, like an iconic figure of Mexico, like made by a company, Tokomex, created by Tokomex, this collection. And it's like, wow. This is like, and plus NFTs, and this technology is on the rise, is going up. All the money's going to come over to technology, CBDCs and cryptocurrency. It's all going to eventually come over here in the next 5 to 10 years. And it'll be sooner than later. I'll tell you more about it later, because you got the World Economic Forum, you got the UN involved in all of this, CBDCs, all the mandates that they created to create digital money and central bank digital currencies. So very, very soon, here in the next couple of years, actually, all has to be done according to, not saying it will be, but that's their mandates. A lot of information, guys, a lot of information, but I'm just trying to pique your interest. And if you like it, I can then break this down and just kind of stay in one little area, okay? Not like rabbit trail into so many places. So, yeah, so when we go to sell these NFTs, we'll each one will be like, we'll sell, say, $100 each. And Zapata, we get a little piece of it. That's part of our deal, because we're going to actually help sell them and put them on the market. They can actually be traded. So if there's only 1,000 and like the first round of people that we sold them to, so there'll be private sales, and say they bought them all and there's still a lot more people that wanted to buy them, well, they'll have to buy them on the secondary, And naturally, the value and the price is going to go up because those people that put them on the market are going to put them up at a higher price, and then of course people are going to be like, man, this is big history. First of all, NFTs, this is the first in a big amazing NFT in Mexico, the most like high profile with this name, Zapata. Like, I mean, we're making history, by putting history, legendary history, onto like a modern thing that's going to be also history, like in like another couple generations. We're like storing this information to be secure and safe, and we're being in liquidity, because then when people buy these NFTs, well, then Zapata, he's going to get the money for that. So, which is great because we're helping out a family that's been highly taken advantage of. That's another thing. I'll get into another video, but these NFTs. Here's another thing: the technology, how you use it. Let me get into this now, so that way you can understand like why you don't need to speculate on this stuff short term and think what a scam. There's lots of scams. 90% has been scams, just like everything with regular money. There's scams. Jake Briggs here. So Zapata, for an example, there's been several tequila companies. In fact, there was 3 companies when we first started working with Zapata that Tocomex, our guys, my partners, they already had some lawyers before we joined. We formed Tocomex together. As we've been doing this, forming Tocomex together, so we have some lawyers, and our lawyers did a search on Zapata, the name. And we found 3 alcoholic like a tequila company, like 3 tequila companies using the Zapata like image and name with no permissions at all. They didn't, and so we actually have a claim there to write these companies, demand like a settlement, or go to court. And either way, we have rights. Zapata has, because they made a ton of money on a legend's name and face, and nobody else got paid. And who knows if these legends even want their face related to these products. Though, good thing is, it's part of the Mexican culture, tequila. So most likely it's fine. But the thing is, Zapata wants to be paid. The family wants to be paid. They have a right to this. This is like their heirs, their blood. They're the bloodline. They were raised by this family, and what was instilled in them, into them as growing up, because they actually have a lot of honor in this family. The way they run their family is very, very different family. They got a lot of respect and honor. They kind of they did keep a lot of the original Zapata, Emiliano. His character is in the family. They're very, very well ordered and very formal type of family. And so, anyways, got those jakes running. If you hear them, look at those beautiful mountains, son. So these NFTs, what they do is these companies are going to rent an NFT. We have commercial use rights. Between Tocomex and Zapata, we actually get a portion to use them too. That's part of our deal, is to get to use, like we have a small part to where we can rent them and make money too. But he has his NFTs, and we'll help him manage them. Like when a company wants to like use the Zapata name to sell like say a tequila, and they have a campaign they want to run for these tequilas for like say 6 months, they'll rent that NFT. It'll go into their wallet. There will be a smart contract. At the end of the 6 months, it comes back to us. They'll rent it for like, say $100,000. And Zapata will get $100,000. And it might be more. It could be $1 million. I don't know. It just all depends on the situation, whatever the agreements come to. But that is so cool, that what that technology does. And it's all so seamless. It's so easy to do. Like literally, like I build NFTs like on my phone and on my small Google Chromebook. And of course I have a team, but how I actually mint them, it's not really hard. The technology can be used by everyday people. And this is when I get down to like freedom and power to the people and how to use this technology for your brand, your business, how you can tokenize anything. They're tokenizing carbon credits, like the air, stuff you can't even see, you know, the whole peace and green movement, you know what I mean? So I said a lot, okay? But what I'm trying to get to is people got it all wrong. They've been listening to the hypesters. What I'm doing is buying during the bear markets, baby, when there's blood on the streets, okay? Because eventually regulations coming in, and they've been working on regulations for years now. Since 2018 is when they got really serious on regulating crypto, and it's going to happen because big companies like BlackRock are making sure there's an ETF for it, all types of stuff. You may not understand all of what I'm saying. This may all be new to you, but if it sounds good, just keep following, subscribe, like, please, and I will teach you the secrets. They're not really secrets, but it's the real substance. Everyone else is about speculating and trading, buying and selling fast and quick. That's not how you do it. You have to first research the technology and don't diversify. Look for one or two of these cryptos that you know are going to stick around, and then get all into it and learn all about them, and make sure they are the best ones that are going to go super long term. And that way you can actually keep up with it and understand whenever they're gonna probably have like times when they'll have these little rallies on the coin itself, because there's a lot of news on them, kind of like a stock. Some news comes out and you're like, oh man, there's some big things coming out most of the world has no clue of, but there's going to be a rally. It's going to pump. You know, I might sell a little bit, I might take a little bit of profits, I need some money coming up, because that's how I kind of do. That's how I fund myself some, you know. Not a lot. I mostly accumulate for the moment. That's for a little bit further off. In like another decade, that's when I plan on selling, for the most part. Because when you do sell, that becomes taxable event as well. It's better to borrow against it. There's a guy named Michael Saylor. He talks all about this, borrowing against your cryptos, which you can do a little bit of that now, but that's coming in the future when there's more like what they call DeFi, where you can loan and borrow against it, but it's not fully developed yet. Still the Wild West. You got to be careful. And you couldn't even really find anyone to do that right now. But it's coming. Once it stabilizes, crypto stabilizes in the next 5 years, there will be way more of that. It'll have developed. It'll be like banking, but and banking is going to move over to crypto for the most part. But anyways, what is coming is the central bank digital currencies. I do need to wrap this video up because I don't want to go past an hour. And I'm testing here. So, hey man, it is what it is. Testing what it's like to make a video, to use this mic, to see if the quality comes out. Shoot, maybe I end up throwing this whole video away. Maybe you can't even hear it. So I have to throw it away. But yeah, I'm going to make shorter videos because I know most people probably won't watch these longer ones. But I'm also doing this for the future because I know this isn't like a super popular topic, and I know a lot of people, my stuff may not blow up until like I'm already back in Mexico. And so that's why, but this will still be here. And then people might go back and watch it and listen to it, the information on it, because the time is short, man. I say the time is short because CBDCs are coming. Central is bad. Central powers, everything's centralized. That means it's a few against the many. The few want to control the many, and they want to control the money system. And central bank digital currencies is the new money system coming, because it's the way they're going to like kind of save the dollar in a way. They're going to, because the dollar is losing value worldwide. You have things like the BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, South Africa, China, the BRICS. They're competing with the dollar. It looks like they're wanting to back it by gold, and most likely they'll also have a crypto based off it as well. And and so, and plus the United States has been sold out for many like decades now. It's not going to be the United States what we kind of know it as and what it used to be known as, the greatest nation on the planet. Maybe it will be in our hearts, but you know, it's changing. And if you don't adapt to change, you will be left behind. That's all there is to it. And if you just want to say cryptos are dead and that's all a scam, it just means you don't know what you're talking about. It just means you're repeating what other people are saying. And yeah, you didn't really ever know what you're doing or whatever, which I understand. I'm not hating on you. But you are going to miss out on the greatest transfer of wealth because it's technology. We're in a technocratic era. The digital realm is going to be the next big move. And I'll wrap it up with this because it's not even real estate. It is real estate, but at the same time, most people are not going to get in on real estate like they think. Especially the fact that everybody's talking about it. Especially the fact that when you're watching YouTube, like that's half of what you see on the commercials, and everybody trying to sell you courses on how to be the biggest and best and in real estate. And usually, when it hits the news and when everybody's doing it, that's usually when it's too late. Now, I'm not saying real estate won't be around forever. It will be, and yes, you can do real estate and do well. Uh, you can do it on a small level and probably do just fine. I mean, it really is. I mean, there's enough land around the world, so I mean, but I'm saying, like, what I'm trying to say is if you think you're going to find ultimate freedom and get really big and wealthy in it and be like one of the guys that owns all these apartment complexes, there's already big, powerful people doing that stuff. And it's probably too late, They probably, now that you're hearing about it, it means it's probably too late. But what's not too late is the digital realm, at least for Web3. And you might want to start thinking about that now and not think about it from speculating on it short term, but understanding that what I was talking about, cryptos, yes, you can speculate them, but they're designed to be for companies to buy them up over time. And yes, 99.9% of cryptos are what they call shitcoins because it's true. They're already gone away, like 99.9%. Like the top 100 cryptos, because there's several thousands that have already come and gone. That means 1% of what? What's 1% of 1,000? Because 100 is 10% of 1,000. So 1% would be 10. Okay. So that means there's if 99%, 99.9% are shit, that means there's at least 10. If there were, say, 1,000 cryptos all together, that means there's 10 of them that are good. But I'm telling you, there's already been a couple thousand, so that means there's at least probably 20. And I think probably you could safely say there's probably been at least 10,000 cryptocurrencies made over the past like 5 years that have come and gone. So you could probably say there could be like 100 blockchains that might make it. But I don't really care about that. I'm thinking the top 30, top 40 is what you would be safer in because most of them are there for a reason because they have solid use cases. And like Hedera has been in the top 30s. In the top, I think we may even hit the top 20s once, but we're climbing our way up. We were way up there at one time too, closer to 100 at one time. But because of our use cases and popularity and people buying it, we're getting closer to the top. I mean, we're in the top 30s. And sometimes we might move around to the top, up around 40 or so. But I think we did hit the top 20s briefly. If not, we were real close because I remember seeing it like low 30s, like we're like right around 30, 31 or so. So, anyways, I'll give you more videos in future videos and the links. I'm looking for them now on videos that have already been created all about the Hedera hashgraph and the technology itself. So that's really what I wanted to try to get into, you guys. A little talk. I'll make shorter talks. This is kind of a practice video. I need to feed the algorithms too, so the algorithms can start recommending me more to others. My work is cut out for me because I'm definitely probably going to be the most unpopular trucker talking about cryptos and this technology. But I'm doing less of my story and my trucking life and showing you around the truck and showing you on my journey, recording the road, because there's already really good trucking YouTubers out there doing that. And I would recommend following their videos. I saw a guy named Just Truckin', Brandon. I think his name's Brandon. I think I just started following him. He has really good ones. Um, and there's others out there, that have really good ones that they really just show you their journey and they even teach you and show you things for like new truckers, especially. So, um, yeah, I think I'll wrap it up with this. That was a good test. But yeah, guys, there's a lot of substance to these technologies. I'm telling you, it's the next era. We're in it now. It's already happening. The world's already being tokenized and fractionalized. Um, it's happening more and more. I mean, you're starting to see Bitcoin pop up everywhere. I'll tell you more about my Bitcoin stories coming up and how, like, when I was in it, when nobody knew about it, and I used to try to talk to people about like 7-8 years ago, and literally, it's so funny too. I got funny stories, and I'll share a story about how I'll make one video about where I cover all the years and how each year I would share a little bit about Bitcoin, and I would find out little by little how people were learning about them, especially in the past 5 years. Um, and how I got to be a part of that process, like telling people about them and how they thought I was crazy, but then later, like a few years later, like, dang, bro, you were early, man. Like, you're like a super OG, like one of the OGs. Because, man, I'm telling you, like, I can tell you all about like Roger Ver, um, like he's like the guy that created Bitcoin Cash. Oh, what's his name? He bought all the Bitcoin from the Fed when Silk Road got busted on the deep web. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about. On the deep web's like, it's actually the real internet, the free internet, not the non-control side, but it can be dangerous too. They call it the dark web, the deep web. But anyways, there's marketplaces over there. Um, there was one called Silk Road. Tim Draper, that's his name, Tim Draper. He wears these ties, and they're all Bitcoin ties. He's an OG as well. He actually, when Silk Road got busted, and there was a lot of Bitcoin on Silk Road, and I actually had one Bitcoin on there. I did some experimenting. I won't lie. I wanted to spend Bitcoin to see how it worked. I was fascinated with it. And it was a marketplace where you could buy all kinds of stuff. And at the time, I wasn't trucking. I needed some medicine, so not needed it. I thought I needed it, so I tried some, bought some. Plus, it was very interesting to get to use Bitcoin like that. Anyways, I had some on there. I had one Bitcoin exactly. I'll never forget. Came back one day and there was a Fed sign on it saying it was shut down. And Tim Draper bought all that on auction from the Fed. From the Fed. They had all this Bitcoin they collected, and he bought it way a long time ago. And then and now look, I mean, Bitcoin's way up there, man. We're in the 20,000s. Between 25 and like 30 or so. I haven't checked it like the past week, but all right, fam. Well, I'm right at an hour and four. I want to make some crypto rich truckers. It's dark here, so it turned into a video to a podcast. It was fun. It was real. I hope I provided some value to you. I know my name, my handle here, the Crypto Rich Trucker, is a little provocative, provokes, but that's the idea, is to make you think, like, if you're crypto rich, why the heck are you trucking? But I promise you, I'm not like a hottie type, a show off, like thinking I'm all badass or something, like crypto rich. I know I do those little emojis with the tongue hanging out with money on it. But hey, man, I'm just trying to have a little fun too, like, and provoke people to think and make you think that I maybe am one of those hot shots trying to show off everything, because sometimes that provokes people to want to come and hate, like, who's this guy think he is? But then when you come over, you might think, man, this guy ain't too bad. He's pretty actually down to earth. Because I am. I'm super down to earth. I live in Mexico. I actually, when I'm home, I'm out. I go out to the sun every day. I take my shoes off. I ground. I drink tea, yerba mate tea. I had a tea business that I sold. It's still in existence over a decade. I'm into off-grid lifestyle and stuff like that. I'm into freedom fighting. Fighting for my freedom and others. Fighting for the human race. And that's why I'm big into this technology, because I feel like it's going to happen no matter what. So I've been making people aware for years now about it, because I have people tell me, yeah, but I don't like it. I don't want nothing to do with it. And I don't want my kids and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I totally understand that. Same here. I don't actually use the technology personally. I don't use social media in a personal way. I don't watch TikTok videos, sit there and stroll through it. I don't do none of that actually. But what I do tell people is like, yeah, but you still need to know about it, because you still use the internet for other things. You need to know about stuff like Brave browser, how to block your movements, the trackers and tracers that are following you. And like, at least if you're going to let them track and trace you and show you advertisements, get paid for it. Sell your information to them. You know what I mean? Let them, you know what I mean? Because that's what they're doing. They're making money off you, off your information for free, without you even being really aware of it. So I'm trying to say, but you need to be at least aware of it, because you're part of it no matter what. Every time you walk down the streets, there's cameras watching you. You need to understand, like in China, they're trying to bring China around the world. That's why you see cameras going around everywhere. And they're plugging AI into those cameras. Trust me, man, trust me. How do you think they're going to have driverless cars? Selfless driverless cars? How do you think that's going to work? You know, they're going to use this technology, these AI meshes, to control these things, to track and trace us everywhere we go. And I'm trying to help the people understand this. But people are too busy drinking the TikTok Kool-Aid, the YouTube Shorts Kool-Aid, and just pure entertainment. They just want to be entertained. Like when they're off work, I know you're tired. You just want to watch something and dumb down a little bit, dumb yourself down a little bit. I don't need to skill up. I don't want to be smart. I don't want to go further ahead. I don't want to break out of the rat race, and I just want to be in mediocrity. I'm fine with what I got. I'm fine with they go to CBDCs and they turn all my money into that and my 401ks, and I could never then buy cryptocurrency, a truly decentralized currency that gives me way more freedom. Maybe not all your freedom, but way more. At least it's better than what we're going to have. You got to get the best of what there is, at least. All right, fam, I already said bye a few times. I'm going to let you guys go. But it's been great ranting. I've been kind of frustrated because I haven't been able to make videos. But I needed to practice, and I now need to break these down into little categories, kind of stick to subjects, topics. But I think I'm going to go on a few more rants and just do some rants, because, more is caught than taught. And this might be a great way for people to say, hey, Slim, I actually did watch that video, and listen to it. Yeah, you said a lot. It was a mouthful. It was an earful for me. But, hey, I heard this, could you tell me more about this? Can you maybe break down your video into smaller bite-sized pieces for me? Because I don't know a lot, but I'm interested. And what you said is very, very good information. And I can see what you're saying now, that, yeah, we need to know about this stuff, man. This is freedom fighting. This is being American, And thank you, Slim, for throwing that stuff on the back of your truck and going out passing out flyers. You didn't have to do that. You could have just rode around truck, stacking your cryptos and going back to your home in Mexico and living a good life. But instead, you spend every single moment while you're driving, making videos, when you get out, passing out flyers, taking the time to make vinyl prints and throw in the back of your trailer. You knew everybody would laugh you out the freaking YouTube. They wouldn't want to hear what you had to say because you're talking about cryptos. You're that crypto guy that everyone hates. So anyways, if that's you, just let me know in the comments what you want to know about. Like I said, I've been researching this stuff, but not only that, I've become an expert in it, to the fact, I say expert because I got people seeking me out. And I'm actually created a consulting company called Togomex, I mean, we're in Mexico, but we're actually global. I've already been working for people globally. I have a branch called Tokamex 3D Labs where we actually build 3Ds. As you will see in the Truck and Vibes, baby, pick you up a Truck and Vibes 3D NFT. It's a 3D asset. It's absolutely free. There is a premium version that I'll have soon that will help you buy in to the actual merch brand that we're creating for truckers by truckers. 100% fractionalized, owned by us. There'll be 1,000 of these NFTs that, not saying 1,000 people own them, but like maybe 100 people own 10 each. That's 1,000, right? Yeah, that's 1,000. So if 100 people bought 10, well, then they each have 1%. And so, which I'm only selling 50% of them. So actually, there's only 500 for sale. The other 500 are allotted for growing the brand and partnerships, other YouTubers. And of course, I need to keep minimum 25% for operations, to pay me to sit down and collect all the funds. Most of it's automated, but to be able to quarterly to sit down, collect the revenue, buy the H bars, and then airdrop them into all the wallets seamlessly. And that's how these holders and owners of the brand will be paid. So I just actually told you right there. I don't know if you grasped it or not what I was saying there, but I did just explain the way it works. But I'll go into other videos in depth as I go, because I'm going to keep these videos rolling, baby, now that I've figured out how to set up my microphone. Hopefully it recorded it. Hopefully the sound sounds good. Now I'm about to listen to it myself and see how it sounds. And I'm going to get a little more creative with these videos. I got to test out different things. Maybe I got to buy another setup, a better camera, a better whatever. But hey, it's about taking massive action. If you want to blow something up, doing little things in a little bit here at a time, you're going to be moving like a snail. You got to like take massive action. You got to think big early, not small. You're going to regret thinking small early. So I'm thinking big early right now and taking massive action. I got to do 10 times the amount of what the average person does. And these days, if you want to go somewhere, the competition's fierce, meaning the competition for attention is one of the hardest games. It's one of the hardest things to do is to win attention. But whoever wins attention, this is Grant Cardone. And a lot of what I just said right there is Grant Cardone. I'm a Cardone University alumni. Actually did a couple years of Cardone University online. But money and power follow attention, okay? And whoever gets the most attention will actually have the most money and power. And don't let me scare you when I say power. I don't care about like having power to like rule the world or no, but it's empowerment, it's influence, and I want to use mine for the good for the human race. I could really care less too much about money, to be honest with you. Honestly, like, man, life is but a vapor. Life is going to be fast and short. You can't take your money with you, but what you can do is change a life. You can change lives around you. You can love thy neighbor. You can love people around you. You can share with your knowledge that that will help the human life, the human condition, help give people a better, quality of life. Especially in these day and ages where you have the elites trying to just hammer us down, on our freedoms, rob us of our freedoms, lock us down. And there's more lockdowns coming. They're going to be more technological based where they use CBDCs. They're going to tell us that there's too much pollution in the air. It's summertime. There's too much heat. It's hot. The world's burning. So we're going to program the money. Since AI is working so much for us now, we're going to send you guys some free money that the AI made for us. You can stay at home, but we're going to program the money to where you can't go fill up your gas tank this week. You're going to stay home. And the other half of the percentage will be able to go out. And then we'll switch it. We'll let you guys go out. We're going to control the population, So, fam, I think I said enough. I'm just trying to throw a big blanket out there, a fleece of information. So that way you can tell me what parts you heard in it and let me know. But anyways, these are my themes. This is my overall theme, except that I'm going to get it narrowed down, into topics. Like CBDCs, NFTs and crypto. I'm going to kind of narrow this down and give it more in bite-sized pieces, and I'll do them over and over and over. I'll use different projects that I'm working with to kind of explain this stuff. But I gotta get whoever I can, and trying to get at least 1%. So if my goal is 100,000 subscribers by end of year, in the year 2023, because if I have 1%, that's 1,000 people's lives that I can change, and that's what I would like to do as a goal, because I don't know if I can change them anymore, because I truly believe the road that leads to destruction is wide, and most will go down that road, but the road that is, the road that leads, that is good is narrow, and it's hard. It's hard to go down that road, you know. We just want to be entertained. It's way easier just to want to veg out, not really care. I don't really care about none of this. What are you gonna do about it anyways? That's what people tell me sometimes. Oh, so what are you gonna do about it? I'm like, well, this is what I'm doing about it. I'm preparing myself. I'm stacking. I'm working hard. I'm a grinder. I'm a hustler. I'm an American patriot. I'm a Mexican patriot. I love people. I love the human race. And I love living life to the fullest. And I'm going to try to influence as many people as possible for the good with what I know. And that's the life that I know. It's where I ended up in life. That's what I've been doing over the past 10 years. So I'm going to spread what I know. I've been in this for a long time now, had much time on my hands in Mexico to get involved in this stuff, to the point to now where I have a company and I got people seeking us out. Big names, iconic names, around the world, and in Mexico especially is my my geographical um, anointing or whatever. It's the place that I love, man. I love Mexico. So, and I love the culture, and I love just so much about it. That's why I chose to and plus it's in business. I heard a lot of successful people say, hey, you want to get successful, if you could, rather than trying to compete here in America where it's so fierce, everybody's already trying to do it all. You got so many people trying to be the big dogs, and it's true. I've heard very successful people in other videos from people like Snooch Knows. He's got some really good interviews, and I've heard this repeated many times. What you ought to do is try to look around the world and try to find an untouched market that no one's actually developed yet, and maybe go develop that market, be one of the first that develops that market. And if you do that, you might have first mover advantage, and your chance could actually be way higher. And so that's a big reason why I chose Latin America to be the kings of tokenizing, Mexico asset by asset and beyond, Latin America and even globally. And hence Togomex, again, Banamex is the king of banking, Paymex is the king of petroleum. It's a big marketing play with our name, and it's absolutely gigantic. We're already getting some people liking our name. So, down in Mexico, some big dogs down there. So, well, I'll end it with that. I think I said enough. Thank you so much. If you listen to this far, well, you're a champion. And I'm actually building a community, so that's what this is about. And if you listen to this far, well then, hey, send me a DM. Let me know that you listen to this. In fact, if you listen to this far, I will send you H bars. In fact, I'll send 1,000 H bars total, 100 H bars each, up to 10 people. Okay, so there's 10 spots open. That means you got to get H bar wallet. It's not hard. Go to the cryptorichtrucker.com. Go down to stop 4 how-to videos and follow those 2 videos. That will get you your crypto and NFT wallet. Less than 7 minutes are the videos, both of them together. Less than 7 minutes, not even 7 minutes. You can have your wallets. And once you have your wallets, send me a DM with your wallet ID, and I will send you 100 H bars each. One person. You only get 100 H bars, and this will help you kind of peg you to the community, to my community that I'm building. And I want to reward you for sticking along this long. That means you're really into it. and that means you're like kind of qualified to be a community member and like to be one of my OGs. That was like, dang, Sling, I remember that video or that video you made? I was there then. Listen to you at the beginning. When you're part of making Trucking Vibes and telling us about all the things you do. So I want to reward you, and I got a lot of rewards coming for my community. Lots. Go pick you up your free 3D NFT, the Trucking Vibes. Take that red pill. That'll help you start understanding this tech. Well, fam, I am going to get off now. Much love, many blessings. Like and subscribe if you can, and share. Thank you. Peace and much love.